How are you? How are your parents?
They're good, thank you. How's the Corona experience been for you?
Amazing.
Really? That's good.
Yeah, amazing because I've been in Georgia. Like I
Okay.
was kind of stuck here without my family, so with
Oh
my
no.
with my parents.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah,
So
it was
almost like me,
great.
I was stuck for 4 months in South Africa last year as well, where I couldn't come back. And now due to visa issues, I can't leave Dubai.
Oh,
So I'm stuck here, but not Corona related.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, everybody experienced it differently.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's definitely been a time of reevaluation for me, and pivoting in. If you don't, I felt like if I don't pivot, I'll be left behind, and that's been good to a certain extent.
Yeah, yeah. For
But
all
it
of us, it was a time for self-reflection, for going inwards and
absolutely it made it a little harder for because we've been doing the mentorship, and it made it quite hard to be able to reach people and have people come, and we can't do anything online, any sessions online, so that's been a challenge, but even with me in South Africa, I was able to do see three clients, even though I don't know anyone there. I was able to complete three cases there.
okay, that's great.
The one though, my mentor had thrown out because there was an issue. There's an issue with the void script, where it seems
Okay.
like it's incomplete.
In your book.
Yes. And at the time, I wasn't aware that after you've done the void script and the person has received the gift, you need to call in the inner child who last had that gift. So I was unaware of that. For some reason, that information never came to me.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's okay even if you don't do it. I mean,
Is it?
in my
Because
demos, I must not have done it.
yes,
So yeah,
okay, that's good to know. Because
yeah.
I was
Because the scripts have changed. Do you see? Is it in the book, Inner Child
no,
now?
no,
Yeah, it's not there. That's the point. So it
that's
wasn't
it.
in the script. So it's not that you missed it, it wasn't there.
Yes, exactly. So what happened the next time was I was I struggled because it's not in the book. I struggled to know how to deal with the situation,
Okay,
because
who told you that you need to bring
this
inner child?
this is Sarmista, our mentor.
Okay.
So not only did she say we should bring in the inner child, but she also said then have the child explain where it was, where this gift was lost,
Okay.
which it didn't feel right to me, because then you have to integrate the inner child to end the session, and I didn't feel right to integrate the inner child that's just re-witnessed the trauma. So then what I did was, in the next session I would do inner child therapy. So then I was made to understand that I'm supposed to do void after inner children, not before inner children. But I was also before that, I was made to understand that void is to identify the core issue, the core belief, to see that you've got the right core belief to work with the inner children. So that made sense to me, and that felt quite natural in my sessions when I was working with clients. So I pretty much, at the time when she then told me that I should have done inner children before void, I had 7 active cases where I've done them all with void first and then inner children. So then the next issue that came about with this process was, okay, now I've found this inner child in the void session. So my next session is the inner children session. So then I understood that in that inner child session, to get to the first inner child, you call in the inner child from the void session. And then you go with them to that trauma, then you start healing and that first trauma is then the first inner child, after when they lose for the first time their resource. And then you go through the 3 inner children.
Yeah, this is too complicated. What you are saying right now is very complicated. I don't see it that way. See, you need to understand one thing. When a client comes to you and you begin to work, as a therapist, you might have, like kind of a perfect image, because you know what tools do you have in your toolbox.
Yes.
Okay? However, client might not fit into your toolbox.
That's it.
So what's important being a therapist is to be absolutely empty with each session, even though you know client story. Second time who walks in through your clinic, through the door, is not the same person.
No, it's not.
And if you as a therapist don't drop that past client who came to see you a week ago,
I'm bringing that client into the session, aren't I? With the new person.
You won't do any good to the client.
No. And I think this is what I felt as well. I'm experiencing at this point in time. A lot of the core issues that I'm dealing with is the same. It's all self-worth issues. It's all they not feeling good enough. So my concern was, am I bringing this from myself, from a previous client? Am I bringing all this into this person's session, which is highly concerning? Because I had this idea that I know what I'm supposed to know, what the process and protocols and the tools is that I need to use. But at the same time, I feel that's very unnatural. I feel like I'm ignoring my intuition then.
It is. Hi, Maria. Hi, Param. We were just discussing with Dee that, like he had a challenge, what to do first with the client, whether it's an inner child or to do the void. And his mentor told him to do void and then bring inner child in, who kind of had this gift that you receive from the universe as a last time. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm wearing this because I'm doing some dental work and I'm toothless, so I have the mask, but okay. I'll hold it like this so you can hear me clearly. So what I'm trying to say here is, when client comes to you in the first session, now first session, I'm not saying the first free 30 minutes or however you are doing it. I'm saying when you already do a session with the client, full-fledged therapy. The next time client comes, you need to receive client as a new person. This is what I do. I receive client as client comes for the first time. I drop everything from my head. So I don't have the plans that, okay, now I'm going to do it. Until unless it's the session like we did past life regression. And now we are going to do rescripting or reframing of that particular life. Okay. And even that time when client comes, client might had new challenge that particular day or day before, let's say some conflict at work or with partner. And I can see that client is restless, and that's the urgency. So I will address that and I will drop my plan of doing, past life rescript or reframing. So what I'm trying to say, you did, let's say you did void, and your client identified, let's say, some suitcase that needed to go away, and with the suitcase was association of I'm worthless, and what client received was, let's say, some beautiful candy or flower, and client said that it's my self-respect or self-love. Now, and I didn't bring inner child. Okay, I closed the session with it. I asked client where to keep that ball or flower. And now next time client comes, what I want to hear is, what are the changes? Is there any change that client observes? So client might say that, I find myself more happier ever since that's, or I'm disturbed, I'm not able to sleep at night, or I find that, relationship with so and so has changed. Some changes. Now, if client says that I'm more happier after the last session, I would ask, so what are you doing different now that you are more happier? How do you know basically that you are happy? Like, what tells you that you are happy? Oh, so I smile more, or I sleep on time, or I wake up on time. Some action which we can. So what happens is that sometimes I must share this with you. Last time I had a client whose situation was quite traumatic. Basically, she's married, and for last 3 years, and she didn't have any sexual interaction with her husband. Okay. Uh, so she had to leave her country and come to Dubai, and she stays with her sister-in-law, husband, sister here for the financial, initially she needs support in Dubai, etc., etc. And she supports financially her husband back home. And there is no intimacy going on amongst them. Now, she lost her parents when she was very young. At the age of 14, she was orphan. Ever since then, she is, educating herself and then going from country to country and works. And suddenly she's out of her career. Because in Dubai, she couldn't get job as per her education and her passion. So that's a stress point. It's a stress that she's staying with sister-in-law who is married, child, husband, full-fledged family. Plus the same sister-in-law is her boss at work. It's a very so-called tough situation, let's put it this way, that she's experiencing. Now, we did a session, and next time she comes, and I asked her this question. So I said, okay, so how are you? You tell me. She says, oh, nothing has changed. Everything is the same. This is same, that is same. I said, okay. So I said, instead of asking you the question, why don't you draw? Because in the first session also, I asked her to draw, and I saw suicidal tendencies. And the second drawing that she gave me was completely different. So I said that I see a lot of things on your drawing. A lot of things has changed, at least in your unconscious mind. So she says, really? Tell me, what do you see? I said, this has changed, that has changed. So I gave her some feedback. She's saying, you know what has changed? I started talking about myself more. I reach out to all my friends. There are 12 friends that I've reconnected in 1 week time, 12 childhood or college friends that she has reconnected. And she has been very talkative about her situation. Earlier, she was only a good listener. So now she's kind of sharing her situation that she was hiding from everyone. And she's saying, I'm ready to move out. I said, come on, in 1 week, so much has changed that you have reconnected with 12 human beings. You are talking about yourself, and you tell me that you are ready to move out, moving out from house, not from the relationship, but
Okay.
moving out from house, which means telling her sister-in-law. Initially, she told me, I can never do that because she's my boss. So sometimes what happens in terms of whether there are changes or there are no changes, you can only map with the action, with the behavior. So even if client says, I feel better, then you have to ask, and what do you do then when you feel better? Okay, that's our focus, and that should be the focus of the client. They shouldn't be married to feelings only, because feelings are sometimes you feel like this, sometimes you feel like that. What we are focused is how functional are you in your life? What are you doing differently in your life? And that's very important. Okay.
So you did one session with her. So
No,
and
I
she came.
continued then, but that was just the one session. Yes.
So what did you do in the first session with her when you met her?
I think I did constellation. I did constellation with parents.
Okay.
Completion of, parental whatever was required, because she lost them when she was
Very young.
very young. Yes. Yeah. So my point was, do not, it's time to ditch your scripts. Okay, it's high time.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go with what client presents. It's client's need. It's not your need. I understand right now it's your need because you need those cases to be presented to ICA. I understand that. So
I absolutely agree with you, because as I was doing it, it felt very unnatural and very robotic. And to a certain extent, a lot of the clients who I was seeing were showing improvements. Their functionality in their lives had improved, but then I kind of was felt that it was made to feel like I was doing it wrong, to the point where I thought I didn't have the 7 cases that I can submit to as my final submissions. So I'm really grateful to hear that as well, because to a certain extent that actually led me to the point where I gave up. I saw the clients, if they canceled, I didn't reconnect with them, but that was all my energy pushing them away as well, because I felt, okay, well, I'm failing all these people because I can't trust my intuition, and I have to follow this robotic script that I need to, like, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So that brings me a lot of relief, and I hope by me getting to that realization, those clients will come back to me as well, and I can complete the work.
Now, see, you still need the structure. You need the framework, otherwise you might get lost. So point 1, 2, 3, what's important? Important is that client is, I'm talking about void identification.
Yes.
Important is that client is hypnotized, number 1.
That's okay.
It. Important is that for you, before you hypnotize the client, to identify that there is a void. Okay. Important is that when client, whatever you are doing, whether you are taking client to the basement or to another storeroom, I don't care. But what's important is that when you are doing this exchange, the client is aware what client is giving and what client is receiving, in terms of, even if it's a ball, what does it represent? Which resource is it? Yes. And once I receive this resource, how complete do I feel?
Yes.
These are the steps that is important. Rest of it, you can change, you can create another setup, whatever you like.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense, and that gives me a lot of trust in my own abilities that I have, and the tools that I have in the back of my mind, so that I don't feel like I need to do this script, then that script, then that script, then that script, and then it should be finished. Then you need to be all sorted out, because I can imagine that's not always the case.
Yeah. So there are few people who have joined while we were talking. So I would appreciate if everyone can switch on the camera so I can put a face. Hi, this is Audrey. I can't see.
Yes,
Hi,
nice to see you.
How are you?
I wanted to ask something about the basement room. Like
Yes, please.
we we check the basement room. So we take one object at a time, then we again come back, we check if there is. So one by one, we can do in that one session.
Yes,
So
yes.
every time we go up, take one, release, take get something back. Then again we come down, we check. Oh, is there anything else? So one by one, not all together. You take and
No,
no.
one
Okay.
by one.
Thank you
One
so
by
much.
one. Yeah,
Thank
and there should be too many. There should not be too many, right? It cannot be obsessive. Anytime client sees, like there are thousands of things to go from there, that already shows that something else is required to be done,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Okay. Got
Or
it.
sometimes it's not the objects, it could be dust. It could be, cleaning of the room is required.
Okay,
So
how do we do that? Dust, because one of my clients told that dust is there. So,
yeah, so clean it up. There must be a vacuum cleaner somewhere. Just find it and clean it up,
okay,
right? Just make it simple.
okay, okay.
Make it simple.
So, what about releasing that thing then? You clean
Yeah,
it
so
up?
it is entire vacuum cleaner.
Okay, entire vacuum cleaner. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
just use
Okay.
your
Okay.
creativity. Or ask
That,
client what client wants to do.
okay, okay. Thank you. I have one more question about ego states room.
Yes, please.
That if the clients, one of the parents are not there, so can we call someone who's not alive?
Yeah, of course. That's what
We
we
can call and we exchange the energy.
depends what you are doing. See, if your
Okay.
question is, can I call anyone in ego room of the client? Of course, ego room is the state of the client where client is resourceful.
Okay.
That's why it's called ego room.
Okay.
So in ego room, see, your client has issue. The issue is one part of the client who has the issue. There is another part of the client which doesn't have the issue, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
ego room is where your client is strong. That's
Okay.
why we say now create the room in which you feel emotionally strong. It's your place. No one can enter that room without your permission. It's your space. You are the boss, right? So
Okay.
then we can invite the weak part of the clients inside the room, or let's say one of the parents or friend or whoever there is a conflict.
Okay.
And then you do whatever is needed in that room.
Okay.
So
Okay.
energy exchange is one small little part of it, but basically resolving the conflict
Okay.
or healing in our children, for example, happens in ego room.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So we have Svetelkovska. Hi, Svetel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And I'm missing some tooth as well. So my speech is that's why I'm wearing this mask. If you could switch on your video, and who has a next question? So for all of you who are new in this kind of support group, the intention of support group is if you have any questions after your class, or if you have already worked with someone and you have some questions or something to share about your sessions.
I have one more question.
Yes, Para.
Yeah, one of my clients is facing a lot of gut issue. She's in a very bad shape. Her gut is like burning. She's not able to eat and all. How do I treat her? What method do I use for her? The stomach area.
Yeah, it's stomach area. It's intestines. More gut means intestine. It's a microbiome. And what you do is you work symptom wise, right? So you can start, for example, with inner child. So all right, so if you can describe your state with this issue, let's say in one word, what that would be. How does this affect you? You need a deep case study. Does anyone else in the family has similar issue? since when client has this issue, what happened around that time, or let's say 6 months prior to first symptom in client's life, what has changed, right? So with all these questions, you can get the idea, and you start from there.
Okay. Okay. So EFT will be also good just to.
Yes, EFT will be good. EFT is part of inner child as well, so EFT will be good as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank
So
you.
in what ways is client limited with this issue?
Okay. Okay.
What client is able to do, not able to do, what client has stopped doing, started doing after this issue has come. So once you ask these questions, then you will get the idea what you need to do.
Okay. It's like unpeeling, peeling the, and then reaching the core issue, and then you start your. Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm hearing this core issue too often from you guys. Now, I don't want you to think that core issue is like a coronavirus, something hidden deep down, and you have to dig that. Okay. Please don't get obsessed with this core issue thing.
Okay.
Just look at it in much more lighter way. Because it sounds like that then we have only one intention to find what's the core issue, and that gets, obsessive for us. And then if we can't find, or we think we didn't find, then we're upset and we feel that we failed. So it's not like that.
Okay.
So just go with the symptom.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I understood. Like core issues is a very strong word, because there are many issues. You can't have just one core issue. Oh, I found the core issue now. No, nothing like that. This is like,
Yeah.
That's, I got it. That's,
yeah. It would be more like I would rather like you to focus what's secondary gain. So there's a presenting issue, and then there is a kind of real issue.
Okay.
I have a migraine. That's
Okay.
my presenting issue, but my real issue is I want to decide, should I divorce my partner or not? And I'm not able to come to that decision. So what I'm presenting is migraine, but what I'm dealing with is something else.
Okay.
Would it be please possible, Irina, if you rebrief me quickly about the procedure to quit smoking? Because I end up never doing it, because nobody never came for to quit smoking. But now, because I have not been practicing it, I'm afraid to not be able to do it. So would it be possible to just rebrief me clearly about this process?
Yeah.
The quit smoking in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so there are different ways to do it. Okay, there are different ways in hypnotherapy to do quit smoking. Now, what you can do is, I'm going to talk briefly about all of them, okay, because that's your choice as a therapist. One is if your client is extremely suggestible, okay, hyper suggestible, which means that the first point is to make client hyper suggestible, okay, to your suggestions. You can just do quit smoking suggestions, okay, and in one session client stop smoking. Now this happens only in cases when clients are highly motivated, very, very motivated by the self. Now, highly motivated clients are usually the clients who doctor says either you quit or you die. Okay, so with them, sometimes one session is more than enough. So you hypnotize them very deeply and give them suggestions, either directly, indirectly, that depends on their suggestibility, to quit smoking and how wonderful they are going to feel, and whatever is their motivation, to again give them the hypnodrama of that kind of a motivation. So if it's a health and the fear of death, then you can say how healthy they are 5 years from now, 10 years from now, etc., etc., and what doctor is telling them now after doctor meets them when they quit smoking, right? So that's the one way. There is another way when client comes and says, you know what, I've tried my best. I've used hypnotherapy, I've used some patches, this, that, other, and I'm not able to quit. With such clients, you can use aversion therapy. Aversion therapy is also one session only where you give extreme negative suggestions with smoking, sometimes to the extent that you give suggestion if they ever smoke, they'll die. This is not suggested usually, but these are extreme cases where client will beg you that you need to help me. I've tried and it doesn't help. Okay. It's not suggested because clients should have a choice. Usually in life, we are humans and we love choices, and this is what life is. Life is all about choices. So when you give such suggestions, it kind of doesn't leave the choice to the client. That's why it's not a very good approach. But again, I'm saying sometimes it's necessary. If there is only one choice, either you quit or you die, then this choice is good. Now, in rest of the cases, the first for you as a therapist, it's important to evaluate the motivation of the client. Because if client is not motivated, if client is doing it because, oh, I'm already, 40 and I think it's good time to quit, but I'm enjoying smoking and I can't even imagine how will I be without a cigarette and life might be boring. And, and one of my friends also quit, and that kind of pushed me thinking maybe I need to quit. And then I've researched and I found Illuminations, I found you. Now you see that there is no high level of motivation. You need to increase it. So first is to work on motivation. Now motivation is not part of hypnotic suggestion here. The motivation is the first step, I'm saying, in a cognitive discussion with the client to increase his motivation. What he is going to gain, what he is going to lose. If he takes this decision now, how his life is going to be after 1 month, 1 year, 5 years. And if he doesn't take this decision now, then how that life is going to be after 1 month, 1 year, 5 years from now. Okay?
Yeah.
Number two, the smoking is always the part of inner child. Now, when I'm saying inner child, I don't mean that we start smoking when we are children. Some of us do, but some of us probably started smoking in their late 20s or 30s. So inner child is the first time client has started smoking. There is that first time. There is that first time situation. So what was the motivation then? So you need to revisit that time.
Yeah.
You need to have a strategy. So the void comes again here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So void identification. What was the situation? And sometimes you might think that situation is stressful when we start smoking, but you will find that most of clients will start smoking in a good space. It's not that they're stressed, it's fun, it's enjoyment. They are with group of people, they're classmates or students, or, they are going on a holiday together. So it's a very pleasant associations. I'm one of you, it's a togetherness, it's fun. So you need to identify what cigarette represents in their space. And you can do a session where in your ego room, you have a meeting with the cigarette and discuss all of this with the cigarette. So this is who you are for me. And that session also, when you ask clients, so what would you like to say to the cigarette, you will find what level of motivation they've reached. So are they still bonding with it, or they are just saying, I'm disgusted, I want to throw it out, or Okay? It's important to identify all these associations. Now, association means that even if client says that that's it, I don't want to smoke, don't buy it as a therapist. You are going to say, okay, you don't want to smoke. Tell me what happens when you are tired at work and it's your time to take off. What would be the strategy? So you need to walk client through daily challenges that it is going to present, because do not believe that it's a magic and it's just going to go away. It's not that client is not going to think about the cigarette after your session. But when thought of cigarette comes, what they're going to think. So reframing of every thought. The strategy. So let's say if client used to drive and smoke from home to work and back, now that you will drive, what are you going to do instead? Because you need to replace it with something.
And this you discuss, you ask this question under hypnosis or you ask cognitively?
No, these are cognitive. This is cognitive. This is cognitive, and the answer they give you, for example, if client says that while driving, I want to sing a song. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Loudly, I want to sing a song. Now, you can give this as a suggestion under hypnosis and let him imagine that he's driving back home and he's singing a song.
Okay.
But what he's going to do, how he's going to reframe situations, that's totally client's idea. So for example, if client says that those smoking windows, they all would go together down and smoke. Now what client wants to do, let's say walking up the steps, then you can give that suggestion to the client. And extremely important that client learns self-hypnosis.
Okay. So about the relationship with the cigarette, is it better to look at a peaceful relationship, or is it better to look at separation?
What's the difference between peaceful and separation? Like, if you could explain what do you mean by that?
Well, I would say it would be just like with a person. A peaceful resolution that, okay, you go your way, cigarette, you go your way, but I am at peace with that? Or is it better to look at the situation of okay, I push you out of my life?
No, see, pushing never happens. It has to be a peaceful.
Yeah.
Pushing is again applying a force.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my choice. So client has to understand that it is my choice. I always tell my client that, see, there are two ways doing it. There is a way that I'm non-smoker from tomorrow, but I still have a desire to smoke. Okay, where I'm stronger than cigarette, so I will use my willpower and I will not smoke. It's very tough because this willpower then you are using every day. Versus I'm choosing not to smoke. That's why I said aversion therapy is not my favorite, because there it's like there is no choice. Here I'm choosing, because now I'm seeing you to who you are, to what you are.
Yeah.
So it's important to identify what beliefs client has about smoking. So if client believes that, you know, smoking is, let's say, relaxes me. Okay, so you need to go deeply in discussion with your client. So how does it relax you? And once client realizes that actually smoking doesn't relax me, it increases my blood pressure, it increases my heart rate, I'm inhaling tons of you know, poisons in my body. It's opposite of relaxation. Now I can look at it differently at the cigarette. So it's that peaceful one that you are saying is the ideal one.
Yeah.
It's peaceful.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Irina.
So in terms of names of the therapies that you have learned, inner child needs to be used, void identification needs to be used, suggestive based therapy, which is the level 1, what you learned, you know, writing suggestion and giving it to your client needs to be used. Self-hypnosis needs to be taught to the client, and passive aggressive behavior, because smoking or, you know, going into any form of addiction is part of passive aggressive behavior. Every smoker knows they are harming themselves. However, they are still smoking. So that's a passively aggressive behavior, right? So you can use that therapy as well.
Thank you.
Welcome. So we have Sonali joined in, and Kareem is in. Hello. Can't see you guys, but I hope you are still here.
Yeah, hello, Irina ji. How are
Hi.
you?
Good, Sonali. Hi.
We are just attending
Hello.
we're doing the level 5, so we're busy. You just came and joined.
Okay. What an effort. Thank you so much for doing that. All day you have been in a class and again joining here.
Yeah, it's once in a month, no? So I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask a question like, I mean, I am not very clear about the ego states therapy.
What particularly you are not clear about?
Actually, you know, I mean, in the ego state therapy, in the manual, just before that whole chart is given, that itself is a little scary.
Yeah, it's not ego states. Okay. You are talking about level 4. I was going to
Level 4. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, what's scary? Can you please ask me particularly what exactly is your query?
Okay, actually, the chart which is just before the script.
No, I understand, Sonali. I understand. The chart that you are saying is if somebody alive comes through the room, if somebody dead comes through the room.
Yes, there are a lot of options and all.
Exactly. There are a lot of options. So what particularly is your question?
Okay, now actually right now, because I have not tried it, practiced it on anyone, so particularly I am not sure. So maybe, yes, I can come back to you again maybe next month when you come online and ask them.
Okay.
Because I think I need to practice on someone, then I can come to know what I'm facing, right?
All right. Yeah, that's one way. Is there anybody else who has that challenge with this particular topic? No one else? All right, Sonali. So first, probably you need to, you know, go through it and then find. Otherwise, I can just quickly give you a, you know, overview of that chart. So ego state room is a therapy where you want to reclaim, I mean, your client wants to reclaim his or her energy back. Now, these energies has been lost with interaction with other people. Now, these people either are alive or dead. Let's start from there. So if somebody who is alive, you deal differently there. If somebody is dead, you deal differently there. Okay? What do you mean differently? When someone is alive, after energy exchange, you know, it's fusing of the astral bodies of who walked in into the room, and then you ask the twin of that part to come in, right? And then fuse them. If someone who client says it's dead, then projecting the palms, white light, and sending through the window. True? Now, there are other options. What if client opens the door and there is someone that client doesn't know? Then there is an option. What if outside the door there is some cloud of, let's say, pink color? Or what if there is a dog or cat or elephant outside the door? So these are the options that you are getting confused.
You like people remember so much. Like,
yes, you don't have to remember. There is a logic there. So if you apply logic, and if you go back to intention of this session is that client has to reclaim their energy back. That's the intention. Right. Now, if somebody is at the door and client is the one who says there is a pink cloud outside, it means that that pink cloud possesses client's energy.
Okay.
Now, pink cloud cannot possess the energy, which means that pink cloud is someone personifying who right now in client's perception is a pink cloud. So you can say, like, count 1, 2, 3, take up the change the shape from the pink cloud to the human.
Okay.
Who possesses my energy that I need to reclaim back. So from the pink cloud is going to change into a human. Now, once that happens, you can ask, is this human alive or dead? Same goes to the animal. You can ask, look at the animal and tell me, does this animal have human intelligence? Look into the eyes of the animal.
It may be another form of someone.
It may be another. So intention is that client does not have entire his or her energy inside their physical body. Okay, it's kind of diffused with different people, and we need to reclaim it. And the moment you give a command that outside the door there is one and only one person with whom you need to do this energy transmission, that person has to walk in. So instead of person, if there is an animal, any object, any cloud, you give a command to change into.
Right, because they are personifying some energy or some personality.
Yes.
Okay. Now you made it sound so simple. Thank you.
It's very simple. It's very simple.
Irina.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Maria here.
Hi, Maria.
If that's turning up in the ESR room, does that mean that technically, or it's the equivalent of if that, cat or mist, whatever appeared at the bottom of the stairs, is that within their aura?
I missed the question. Is your question continuation of what Sonali just asked?
Kind of. I'm kind of asking about, I suppose I'm trying to get it straight in my head because I understand what you're saying in the ego states room. Okay, my first question is, I understand whatever comes up is obviously an energy or has taken energy from them. Oh, it's energy that's been taken from them. Okay, got you. Okay. Second of all, just like Dee said earlier, I'm just wondering where in the kind of normal strategy of sequence that is for our cases would you start doing ego states therapy? Let's say I would have a lot of clients who are, let's say, more Western. So I don't know, like sometimes I feel like leading in with inner children or void is kind of, I don't know, it feels more natural, and then they kind of build up to being open to things like this. So I know that's probably me adapting to them, but would you do this straight away, or is it a little bit more shocking if?
No, listen, you can do it straight away. Ego room is not for all of those clouds and animals. See, you can do it straight away. Why? Because if there is a client who comes and let's say presents all of those issues that we discussed in the class when you do the ego states, right? Besides that, if client says, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but suddenly I'm feeling very sad, and when I look back, nothing has happened, nothing has changed. Now, possibility is that client is not feeling his or her own sadness and client has picked up, right? So you can say, all right, close your eyes, go deeper, go into the ego room and say outside the door is your sadness. origin of your sadness. So let's open the door and see what walks in. So you can use ego room, you can modify. So that's the script that is given to you. But you can always ask the client, open the door and let's see. What's the shape of the sadness? What's the color of the sadness? Since when that sadness has been there? So personify sadness and talk to sadness. While doing this, you have already separated, disassociated your client from the sadness. So don't look at ego states just because we are doing it in level 4 and we are utilizing it in a spiritual hypnosis where, you know, dead people can come and past life personalities can come and past life inner children can come. No, you can use it with every client.
So then how do you deal with this sadness? Like, is this example what you told us?
You deal with the sadness the same way you deal with the people. But that sadness also might turn into somebody else. Oh my God, it's my father, client might say.
And
Or,
suppose if it doesn't turn, if suppose it turns into an object or a shape or so you have to keep asking till what it is personifying comes up.
even if it is not personified, let's say client says, it doesn't turn up. So it's pink ball and it stays till the end as a pink ball.
Okay, so you just kind of do the energy exchange, or you just...
No, it's not energy exchange. It's just,
Sorry.
just understanding what does it trying to tell you.
Oh, okay. Got it.
When do you have it? What can you do with it?
Okay, so trying to deal with that feeling of sadness by just, bringing it into the ego states room and having a dialogue.
Yes, moment you bring something into the ego room, you already broke association. You have already diffused client from the issue. Because now in the ego room, you have a client and you have an issue. When client came to you, they came like this. Client was sad. Now you have your client and sadness. And let them decide what they want to do with the sadness. Usually what I do is I turn the sadness into a resource.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay.
And Irina, if let's say it's a pink ball and it's sadness, it's not naturally that you say, what were the last hands that held this pink ball? And no, not necessarily. It could just be an object.
Not necessarily.
It could be a symbol. Okay.
Yeah, I can ask, who does it belong to?
Got you. Okay.
And how would you, how would you turn it into a resource?
How do you turn anything into resource?
Like the sadness you said, you
think about it. You tell me. When sadness can be a resource?
When, what is it trying to tell you? What lesson are you learning from it?
No, otherwise, don't go so deep.
Okay.
Let's do it on a very surface level. When is sadness resource? Tell me the situations.
When in a situation you are sad, you are feeling sad, so you start thinking about why are you feeling sad, and then you come up with that you are giving your power away to some person or some situation which is making you feel sad.
No,
sorry.
No. You are going again into a direction of why. Now understand that why is your mind. Feeling sad is a feeling. It's not mind. You don't have to always make meaning about your feelings.
Okay.
Now, truth about feeling is that if it's a true feeling, if someone dies, sadness is a resource because this is what normal, healthy person should feel.
Right.
Okay, and they have to feel it fully and then let go. You don't have to make meaning of it. Your body knows. Moment there is a loss, your body knows how to feel and step into sadness. Okay, why am I feeling sad? Forget about that.
Okay.
So resource is how can you fully feel emotion and then let go. That itself is a resource that we call emotional intelligence, right?
Yes, when you have to go through that stage of grief or loss.
Yes. So now if pink ball comes in, for example, and forget about spiritual hypnosis right now, that who held your hands, like Maria says, I don't want to use stuff like that with my clients. Okay, let's forget about it. Pink ball comes in, does not turn into a human, it's sadness. Okay, can you hold it yourself? Probably it's your sadness. Hold it and tell me how it feels. Can you feel it fully, how it feels to feel sad? Yes, I can, client says. Now, I want you to put it aside and tell me how it feels not to feel sad. Okay? And now you have a choice. Anytime you want to feel sad, you know, all you need to do, close the eyes, imagine that pink ball next to you and pick it up. And anytime you don't want to feel sad, close your eyes, imagine that ball is right on your chest and just put it down.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you can use this in a simple, how to manage to
emotions.
Pull, don't push it out. Don't fight with it. Just feel fully and then feel fully without it when it's next to you. Okay, can you now put it 1 meter away from you?
Yeah.
Can you put it in your cupboard now? Don't see it, but know that it's right there. So there's a lot you can do. Depends.
Yes. So beautifully explained. Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome.
Irina, can I ask another question about smoking?
Yeah.
I had a girl in my department, not a close colleague, and she said she was very, very highly motivated. Went through the whole process that there was a spirit attachment to my grandmother, definitely an identity with her family who all smoked, definitely a relaxation connection when she's on the phone ringing home to her sister. She wanted to give up because hopefully she'll get pregnant in a year, for life assurance, for her skin and for her health to go back running. So she did well for a while. The fiance was kind of encouraging, oh, just enjoy the cigarettes. I was like going, But so basically, I think she's kind of back smoking every weekend now. So I was thinking of doing another session with her and saying, maybe bringing in the part of her that still wants to smoke. Because in conversation, just in the corridor, she said to me, she knows why she's smoking now. It's the only thing that's left for her, you know, given the situation. It's kind of like her pleasure. And I feel like I did everything. Like I put tea in a toilet, broke cigarettes, I built walls. I genuinely, I was an absolute psycho, I have to be honest. I had her, you know, through I did everything seriously. I had the big, the trombone screeching out to the world, her village, that she wasn't a non-smoker, you know, she was a non-smoker. So part of me is devastated because it was like a week of the most intense. It was 2 hours every morning. The two of us were nearly broken after it. So part of me is going, where do I go from here? Because if through this whole process, she's just realized that they gave her a lot of pleasure, I'm left with kind of a non-case. Or is there a point, not forget about me, but is there a thing where I could do maybe getting her into the ESR room and ask her, invite the part of her that still wants to smoke? Any other ideas I could do forward?
I'll tell you one secret, and probably in the next support meeting, we will ask you how she's doing. Tell her that she's doing great, okay? And just ask her that each time she smokes on the weekend, every puff she takes, she just says, I love you, I take you to my heart. Okay? Every puff she says, I take you straight in my heart. Because it's pleasure, right? She says.
Okay, yeah.
Just tell her that. And let's see what happens.
Okay, okay. Okay. I have other questions, you know I do. I have another client who got married when she was 21 in Eastern Europe, and like after 4 months, you know, while she was in college, and basically now she's 26 and just wants space, adventure, traveling, all the rest. The thing is, she absolutely knows she wants a divorce, but in cognitive discussion, it really came up. Basically, it's the fact that her mother's religious and her mother really likes the husband. So it's the whole guilt, basically. She feels guilty because they're kind of prone to getting depressed. So it's, if she does what she wants, they'll be depressed. So.
And then how will she feel about it, that they are depressed?
She feels guilty. Oh yeah, sorry. She feels guilty. We got to that just in that. So I'm like, is there even just in cognitively, is it just for her to deal with her guilt?
Yeah, that's what you do.
Because part of me is going, obviously, you know, there's a point that they're not going to change. That's their, you know, persuasion.
Yeah, so they're not going to change, and that's not the priority here. Here, priority is that client first identifies what client wants.
Yeah.
Then client comes to conclusion that this is the only way, how can I reach to what I want? And then what I carry is a guilt. Okay, so
yeah.
Guilt is something that she needs to deal with in a session.
Yeah.
In a session. Now, is this a true guilt? No, it's not.
Because she hasn't done anything wrong, really.
It's not the real guilt. You know what is real guilt here? Real guilt is living her family. Her family is her mom, her dad. That's the real guilt. Because by divorcing this partner, she will be disowned, disapproved.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So there is that guilt that she's not going to be one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And that guilt is beautiful, because without that guilt, we will not live life fully.
That was the hard thing, is even in the cognitive discussion, we got to a point where the horror of that like what she could do, you know what I mean? In a way, it's kind of like, are you going to live as a prisoner for the rest of your life in order for them to like your status? Do you get me? And her brother's moved in with the husband now, so it's even worse. It's more enmeshed, you know? Yeah. Okay. So maybe do inner children and go through the guilt. Is it, I'd start there maybe?
So as the end result, she has to carry her guilt.
Yeah.
So it will come when she decides. So what you can help her is to come to decision.
That's what I feel, is it's not about just uncovering it. It's the fact of she's now left with this. And I personally can see it and go, oh, well, in my situation, nobody should be expected. But her situation, it's like, it's impossible. So that's why I was like,
Maria, first thing is that if you are seeing it as impossible, it will be impossible for the client. Please empty yourself from any judgment.
I suppose what I'm saying, Irina, is just from her viewpoint, she's seeing it as impossible. I see it as it's just people
seeing it impossible. She won't reach out to you. She won't tell you, I want a divorce. Somewhere there's a part of her, for that part, it's possible.
Yeah.
And that's the part that needs to grow.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
the focus.
So it's actually making the decision rather than dealing with the guilt.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Because that guilt will always stay. And that's the beautiful guilt. All of us need to feel that guilt. only then we grow.
Okay, so it's more just learning how to live with it and being able to make that decision. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's not going to
You have
disappear.
to turn. That's exactly how you turn another guilt into resource.
Okay. And so the resource is that we care about how our actions affect other people and our impact and connection to people, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Maria, another way how you can look at it is, see, we grow through our roots. Okay, that's like how tree grows, gets all the nourishment from the earth. Okay, and we grow. And what these roots represent to us as humans is our parents.
Yep.
Right? So yes, we are very, very connected to our family, and we get all our nourishments, all our survival beliefs, etc., etc. But don't forget that tree grows because of sunlight as well. Okay, if there is no sunlight, no matter what a wonderful, strong roots you have, no matter how much nourishment is there in the Mother Earth, nothing would happen, right? So another way to grow is to focus on the sunlight. And the sunlight is your passion, your client's passion. She wants to travel or whatever you said, I don't even remember. Travel, you said? So that's the passion. So if you can make her focus there, and what is it that she wants to experience, she is going to grow two ways. And until she moves away from what's behind her, she will never be able to live life fully. That's true.
So that's what I felt was like, it was so obvious, as you said, you know, not looking for the core. There's no need to look for the core issue here. I'm like, it's straight in front of me. But I'm like, I can't suddenly make her guilt go away because it's what's entrenched with her love for her family. Yeah, okay. So it's to see it as a resource and to bring her the strength to make that decision. Gotcha. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Because that's what I felt was like, I can see what the problem is straight away. Okay. And also when you're doing Paris Window, do you just do a few lines or do you really go deep into exploring every part of the...
Deep.
Okay. Because I feel too, sometimes you're just going, and what does that make you feel? And what does that make you feel? And people, I don't know, I seem to get a lot of clients who are just like, I don't know, maybe they can't connect with it. So I'm always trying to say, what would that mean to you when you think, you know, that way? Is there any other tips you have for that?
Yeah, you can ask if you knew what it would be. Let's pretend you know.
Okay. And Irina, just from the cases, I know Dee mentioned it earlier, and I think it's sapped a lot of my confidence, even though I feel I usually have an instinct of how to go with different clients. But the structure needed for the case studies, I get, let's say with smoking, that every single one of those things should be followed up on. But sometimes I'm actually terrified now that a command wasn't perfect or that the sequence, you know, that they might have been different. Like, what would your opinions be on that? Let's say now I get the importance of doing ego states room therapy, you know, that way, you know, whereas something might come up later that I deal with, I should have addressed it, you know. But is it okay if it didn't go perfect, but you can see where the growth is or justify, or you had a great response?
There is no perfect therapy. There is no, if there was, it would be return. That do this first, do this second. It cannot be. There are no perfect surgeries. Every client, every situation is different. No one can tell you, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, right? The important is that client understands in any therapy that client has the choice. So if client is biting the nails, okay, and then client stops after your session, client needs to know that client does have a choice. It doesn't mean client can never bite the teeth, nails. Of course they can if they decide to. But would they decide? See, earlier when client came to you, they didn't have choice not to bite. Now they stopped, which means there's a new choice that has come up. Now that there is a choice. Should I bite? Should I not bite? So this is what you need to accomplish, creating choices for clients.
Got you. Because that's
And
what I
let them decide in every situation, let them decide to have minimum 3 choice, minimum. So every time they are angry and they are screaming and shouting, and they don't want to do that, now you need to develop 3 different ways how they are going to react as minimum. So when you are angry next time, what would you like to do? I want to sing a song. What else? I want to run. What else? Right? So create choices with your client. That's most important.
Yeah, like I think with that smoking lady now, she knows exactly why, and there is a difference. Yeah, because it's a choice now, whereas before it was a compulsion. Yeah, an addiction. Okay.
Yeah, but can she miss like 2 weekends and not smoke?
Yeah, I know.
Can she? Then we will say
Yeah.
she has a choice. I don't think right now she has a
Not
choice.
really. No, no.
If she had, she wouldn't smoke.
I think you have to get paid for those cases. It's too much energy. Genuinely, it's my new opinion. I wouldn't touch one unless they were willing to put something down. Because I understand now that a person comes to you with all the conviction, consciously, God bless them. But what it takes to really want to give up is my new opinion, that
Yes.
it's, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But having said that, there was this experiment done on the flight, on one of the flights, maybe he knows, one of the flights, they've announced that, okay, if you want to smoke, you pay $100 and you can smoke a cigarette. Every smoker on the flight paid and smoked. And there was like half an hour or 40 minutes before landing, something like that, It wasn't like 12 hours ahead, I have to fly. Like the last 1 hour, 1.5 hours, they've announced anyone who wants to smoke, $100. Every smoker paid. So when it comes to smoking or any addiction, I understand what you are saying. Even if they paid you 3,000, 4,000, if they are not done with it, they will still smoke.
But it's my ego is involved here because I thought I was very dramatic and theatrical. I'm sorry to be so egotistical, but I suppose I'm a bit embarrassed too because she's smoking, so it's like a public failure of mine. And that's me, because I really I went for it. Like I was the voice, and oh God, I literally put a pot of tea down, broken cigarettes. It looked, I used foul imagery and everything, and part of me went like, oh my Lord, what would you have to do? But that's totally my ego. I know it's nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Right now, just tell her that with every puff, she's going to say, I take you straight to my heart.
Yeah, gotcha. One more question. Sorry. Okay. And I will shut up. Just regarding if you were to do chakra analysis or, with the dowsing, and let's say you got the person front, back, and let's say you understand they have an issue, let's say with food or something. And then, you see front is back or in the solar plexus or something. You can then move on using that just within your case and move on to inner child or.
Yes, it's an amazing way for, induction. Because it moves, then you ask them to repeat the certain affirmations related to the chakras, and you can take them straight into any form of induction, be it a inner child or void or whatever. Ego state.
You obviously do the back first, then get them on their, lying on their back, and then. So if they would have told you the issue, so then even if there was other chakras involved. Let's say the one that seems to be primarily then the verb that's next to it, you get them to repeat, is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to use that.
Chakra is involved, you ask them to repeat that particular affirmation.
Okay.
And even if they don't tell you the issue, you can choose this as an induction technique. You can say, okay, let me check your chakras, and whichever chakra is kind of block or, you know, doing jumping, you can say, okay, repeat this and tell me what happens. Or how does this resonate with you?
But when you say you don't know the issue, what
Yeah.
would the affirmation be? Would it be like, I want, or I need, or I have needs?
For example, let's say root chakra is blocked. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can say that I'm stable in my stable world. So
Okay.
ask client to repeat this and say, how do you feel when you say this? The moment you say the right sentence, sometimes, you know, tears begin to. So how do they react to the sentence? If they say nothing, okay, so pick up another one.
But just stay in the root chakra. Got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It's all about security, needs, safe,
Yeah.
whatever it is to be hit.
Safety, stability, you know.
And then
It's a survival. It's a survival.
survival, yeah. So then you could basically get an inner child pop up, or just something come up, or ESO room straight away. Okay. I haven't been using it. I have been looking at decision makings, or, you know, other things with it, but not literally with the person. So I've been missing out, actually. Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of decision as a therapist you can make. You can say that next client, I'm going to utilize this as an induction.
Yeah. Yeah. Got you. Okay. Thank you so much, Irina. You've given us so much clarity.
Irina, I've got a question with regards to the label depression and the people that's been labeled depressive.
Okay.
It seems like there is a hell of a lot of people out there, and we have been taught not to touch them because you don't want to take them too deep into hypnosis. You shouldn't teach them self-hypnosis if they've got low mood.
Yeah.
What cognitive strategies can we utilize to be able to get them to a point where we are able to give them some relief? Because in my opinion, a lot of the times, from my own personal experience as well, depression is coming from an internal conflict between your inner child, your inner parent, and your inner adult. And if that conflict if there's an agreement between those three inner personalities, there is a relief. And I feel like the terminology and diagnostics are utilized so easily that people get labeled so fast when they're actually just experiencing some sort of emotional lows.
Dee, I wouldn't agree to this because depression is a much more complex situation than what you have just discussed. Now, when there is an inner child, child and parent and, you know, ego kind of adult, that doesn't call depression. That creates a lot of anger. And instead, when you are angry, you can't be depressed, you see? So anger is like a charged up. Depressed is like this. And different of the situation. So there you will get more like passive aggressive behavior kind of a situation. So yes, there is a lot of misdiagnosis. There is a lot of misdiagnosis where person is clinically depressed on the as a label, but it's not. But if it's a clinical depression, we say do not use hypnosis because depression itself is a deep hypnosis. Now, you have been certified as clinical hypnotherapist. Therefore, you do not, you know, deal with depressed clients because we don't use hypnosis in depression.
Okay.
Until unless you have some other tools in your toolbox, do not. Why? Because depressive clients, actual true diagnosis, let's put it this way, somebody who was not misdiagnosed but diagnosed. Okay. They have tendency, very high tendency, very high risk of suicidal cases in depression. Therefore, it's a risk, it's a responsibility. There are legal issues. That's why we tell you not to do it.
Okay.
Okay. And how to identify, I mean, all the famous people who have killed themselves and while clinically depressed, if you just kind of, you know, remember them, would you say they were depressed?
Yeah, no, they not most of them you wouldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the moment we say this, depression has been utilized this word so much, we identify depression and sadness together. Anytime I'm sad, I'll say, oh, I'm so depressed.
Yes,
No, that's not what it is.
that's
Sadness is different, depression is different.
that's
It's
yes.
more complex. Sadness is one of the components of that cocktail that's called depression.
Mm.
So they are stuck in some area in their life, some situation in their life, and they're not able to come out. And that's what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is that you are not in a real world, you are somewhere there. Now, in therapeutic hypnosis, we create that world where we put you in, which is positive. Okay, we create the world where we'll tell you you are not a smoker, you are healthy, you have a lot of confidence, you do not bite your nails. So we create that positive state where we put you in, and that's what you begin to believe. So depression is this negative state of hypnosis.
Okay.
So somebody died 20 years ago, and ever since then I'm clinically depressed, I'm not able to move on. But that happened then, but I'm still there, which means I'm completely denying the reality, and I'm there. I don't want to brush my teeth, I don't want to bathe, I don't want to eat, I don't want to sleep, I don't want to, right? So that's why we say do not do hypnosis. So what you need to do, in fact, is wake up the client.
Okay.
So waking up the client, you can teach them EFT. EFT is wonderful in depression.
Okay.
Slowly you can cognitively ask questions. What used to be clients' passion, what they used to like to do, and give them a very small, tiny kind of steps and goals to achieve every day.
Okay.
So physical exercise, physical body needs to be active, because it's impossible if you are running. For example, if you are running, you can't be depressed at the same time. If you are jumping up and down in that particular moment, you can be anxious, but you can't be depressed, because depression requires certain amount of hormones in your body, and those hormones cannot be present while you're physically active.
Okay.
So asking them to, physically be, now there is a catch-22. When they are depressed, will they do it? That's the situation. So you have to chunk it down in a small, tiny, doable actions.
Okay, great. And then when will we be able to really know whether or not this person is ready for hypnosis, deeper forms of hypnosis or trance?
You don't need to do deeper forms of hypnosis. All you need to do later is to kind of visualize, and visualization can be with your open eyes, with your closed eyes, very short messages, like hypnodrama kind of a situation.
Okay.
See, tendency for depressed client is that moment they close their eyes, they go into the darkness,
Yes.
that darkness. So I usually don't work with them with closed eyes, with open eyes.
Okay.
And you can ask them to draw situations, use colors and be more present in physical body.
Okay.
Respecting their physical body, self-love.
Yes.
Loving yourself at the level of physical body. This is something they need to learn.
Okay.
Irina,
Strengthening the conscious mind.
Yeah.
when you classify depression, like if someone had a depressed point, just a natural grief or a breakup, versus someone who's been on medication, long-term medication. I even had a girl there last week who came, she had a suicidal attempt last year, and I think in the Sudan they said she was schizophrenic. So it doesn't matter how well she seems now, just absolutely no-go area. Obviously, I know that's what I feel. Yeah, I think what's happening though, when you're looking for clients and it's not family members or friends, any of these messages you're putting out, I feel at the moment where I'm getting an awful lot of people with very, very extreme emotional situations and even diagnoses, you know?
No, you do not become like full-fledged therapist to them. You can do one session or two where you can teach them, for example, EFT.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can do, let's say, if they are dealing with conflict, you can do the parent window with them.
Yeah.
You can put 2 chairs there and you can ask them to sit here and so do entire hypnodrama with wide open eyes and, you know, sit here and now what would you say, and sit there and come to resolution. So don't close the eyes and go deep down and 20 steps. Don't do any of the deepening with depression. Otherwise, there is a lot of work that you can do, but don't take this role that I am your therapist as a client who is clinically depressed.
No.
So you can be this complementing with session here and session there and giving them some skills.
Yeah.
So take one particular challenge of their life and help them to resolve that challenge. Don't take responsibility. I'm going to heal your depression. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. Because that's what I felt actually, was just in conversation, that giving a perspective that there was actually progress, but then you're obviously going like, this is too big. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
A stupid question regarding self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
But you always bring a client out at the end, give them the whole procedure, you know, let's say with your smoking client, you know, you're teaching them at the end. I know that I'm going to embarrass myself, but let's say, what's the optimum way to teach them the self-hypnosis? Is it, you know, where they're choosing, selecting the words, the sensation in the body?
Yeah. So what's your question? I'm not understanding.
I'm going to embarrass myself now. Basically, is if, let's say, if they're at the end of a session, okay, I'm just wondering hypothetically when you get as good as you. So they're at the end of it, like a hypnotherapy session, you know, a pleasant session, they're in like under. Is it possible to, let's say, go through the sensations of the body and like basically ask them which
okay, I understand.
Or you have to take them out and that's, I know, embarrassed, but yeah.
No, I understand. So basically your question is, would you do it stand-alone session or would you integrate it one of these? I always integrate, always.
Yeah, cute. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
I always do it. So let's say in one of the deepest, levels, whenever they are deep into trance, I'm going to tell them probably either the way, you know, I'm going to give you 7 keywords and choose one and then second set, or there are many different ways to do self-hypnosis. Okay. So whatever script I will teach them there and then. Never I do call clients separately for self-hypnosis. I don't do that.
Okay, got you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You're an oracle of knowledge.
Thank you. It's experience. After a few years, you will see how much tons of experience you are going to have when you see so many clients. You just need to be patient. Yeah?
My apartment has become a psych ward at the moment. I know I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, no, you really cut your teeth. I can see it the more cases you take. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Any other question or should we close the session?
I don't know if you have the time. If it's a long one, maybe you can answer next time. I just had this doubt about the EMT guidelines for core issue resolution of inner child. Like initially, I understood that you have to, take that some presenting problem, and then you have to exaggerate and make the client feel so disturbed by making him chant or whatever, create the physical discomfort, and then you have to do the EFT to bring it to a minimum level.
Okay.
Right? So after that, it says that you have to do the unpeeling so that
where do you read this, that you have to make client disturbed? I'm missing it. Do you have a book that says that make client disturbed?
Yeah, it says disturbed meaning. I'm reading from the manual, and also I'm remembering what.
No, please read from the manual. Don't remember. Read from the manual and tell me which level it is. Which book is it?
Level 3 it is.
Okay, so what does it say?
It says it's the EMT guidelines for core issue resolution of inner child. And
Yeah.
it says that first you have to discuss the presenting problem. Then you have to make the
Not like,
client
please
ask,
read the book. Can you please read what's written there?
yes, ask the client to close the eyes and continuously chant the emotion or feeling silently in his mind till some physical discomfort is felt in the body. Then on a scale of 1 to 10, ask the client to rate the discomfort. Then intensify the emotion until the client reaches the physical discomfort of scale 5 or more. If it is not strong, then go back to the cognitive discussion. And then you have to follow the basic EFT recipe and
Okay.
keep working with the emotional charge till it reduces to a minimum threshold level of 1 or lower.
All right. So now what's your question?
Yeah,
What
my
is your
question is, after that comes the unpeeling. You know, it says that once the SUD charge is reduced to the minimum threshold level, start unpeeling of the different thought layers using suitable conjunctions. So
Okay.
I don't remember, like, how do you do that
Okay.
unpeeling?
Okay. All right. So I'll tell you. So client gave you presenting issue. You have already done all those steps. Now unpeeling would be, so client tells you, now I feel suffocated. So even though I feel suffocated, because would be you as a therapist asking, okay? Because nobody loves me, yet I choose to heal and integrate that part of me. Even though nobody loves me, I feel, you will say this word, I feel I'm worthless, yet I choose to heal and integrate that part of me. So this would be unpeeling from being suffocated to worthless.
Okay, to bring the core issue.
Yes.
So you keep on giving the prompts in between
Yes.
till the client like comes deeper, goes, you know, like deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And then when the client kind of is exhausted,
No,
you know,
please, Sonali, you need to listen to what you are saying, okay? Now,
okay.
client exhausted, what do you mean by that? Our intention is not to exhaust the client.
No, sorry. I mean the client, what the client says, those, I mean, that is
No, let's
exhausting.
bring it let's be in a very clean language, okay?
Okay.
So every time client says, let's say client's presenting issue is I'm stuck. Now, okay, keep repeating I'm stuck and tell me where is the discomfort, so-called SUD. It's in my chest. I feel heavy in my chest. Okay, give it a number. Number is 5. Now you begin. So even though my chest is heavy, that reminds me of being stuck, yet I choose to heal and integrate. So we begin from there. From the stuckness, as you unpeel, you come to the meaning each time client gives you, because being stuck, you cannot just let client lose and make her unstuck, right? So what we are trying is what being stuck means with association to the clients in client's unconscious. What do you mean by stuck? Because client is actually not stuck. Okay, so that process is given there as a unpeeling. So it's not the exhausting the client. It's coming to the truth of the belief. It's the belief that I'm unworthy. Now, if I believe that I'm unworthy, no matter how much money you give me as a resource, no matter what a wonderful team you give me to work with me, no matter how much respect you give me, if I feel I'm worthless, I'm going to feel stuck, for example. Okay?
Right.
Not to exhaust the client, but to come to a deep unconscious belief that client has. That is actually hiding behind being stuck. Now, you know what stuck means? Stuck means that I don't want to try anything. Actually, okay? There are opportunities, but I don't want to try. You know why? Because if I try, I will discover something that I'm hiding from myself. This is being worthless. So even if I bake the greatest cake of the world, nobody is going to buy it because I'm worthless. What I create is worthless. And that will be a reminder that I'm worthless. And I don't want to feel worthless. It's very painful. Being stuck is not that painful. So I'll rather feel less pain than more pain. Okay. So you are not
Right.
exhausting the client, you are reaching to unconscious limiting belief that client
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, actually, I use the word exhausted in a which created misunderstanding. I meant that when we keep on giving the prompts to uncover the core issue, we have to keep on giving till the client kind of can't think of anything more, till the replies are exhausted. That's what I meant. Is it so?
No.
Okay. So till
No,
when do we keep on giving the prompts?
Until you identify either it's a loop, okay? I feel worthless, I'm unloved, I feel worthless. So you choose this. Or when you come to the deep unconscious belief, and usually that beliefs are very similar to I'm worthless, I'm helpless,
Like
these
I'm
are
not good enough, like I'm not good enough,
I'm not
something
good
like that.
enough. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's all the playing with the words. It all means the same. Good enough,
Right,
worthless, I'm not.
right. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Irina ji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Sonali.
I
All
was
right,
glad
I
to
think
catch you in the last part.
let's close the session
Thank you, Irina.
Thank you
today.
We
so
can
much,
listen
Irina.
to you all night.
Hope you feel better soon.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Probably what you
Thank you so
can do
much.
is next time when we have a support group, probably you can email your questions, yeah? All of
Yes.
those.
Okay.
Because somehow I feel that some of you are just listening and you might have question and you didn't get the opportunity to, ask. So if this is the case, I don't know what tells me this. Probably today is my intuition or
Your
is it
intuition is
logic?
correct.
So please email at irina@illuminationsworld.com. So just email your questions. So I will make sure that I will cover all of them.
Can you
Fantastic.
type it in the chat?
Thank you.
Let's
Email
try it once and let's see what we get as a result.
Okay.
All
Thank you
right?
so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
Good
so much.
night.
Thanks a lot.
Irina.
Thank you. Thank you.